Today we are going to be talking about applying percents. We've done percent increase, decrease, finding percents. Well, today we're going to be applying those. Okay, we do have three vocabulary words. Our first vocabulary word is commission. It says a fee paid to a person for making a sale. Sales people typically get paid commission, like a car salesman. If you buy a car for $30,000 and they get a 3% commission, then they're going to get paid based on the amount of car or cars that they sell, I guess. Commission rate is a fee paid to a person who makes a sale expressed as a percent of the selling price. Like I said, that's just like that person who sold a car for $30,000 and they get 3% of that. Well, 3% is that commission rate. Okay, our next one is sales tax. A sales tax is a percent of the cost of an item which is charged by governments to raise money. You guys know this. Whenever you go to the store and you buy a video game for $49.99, but it always costs more than $49.99. Well, that's because they're charging you sales tax, which makes the price go up. But they use that tax to, repair the roads and whatever else, to run the government. Yeah, buy us school IDs. All right, let's take a look at our first example here. Our first example says, Julie is paid a monthly salary of $2,100 plus commissions. Last month, she sold one car for $39,500, earning 4% commission for the sale. How much was her commission? What was her total pay for the month? Now, we do have a formula, I guess we could say, for finding commission. And our formula for finding the commission looks like this. Okay, our formula, let me write that here. Is our commission rate times the sale. Okay, that equals our commission. I guess it would help if I spelled that right. That equals our commission. Okay, so that's how much they're going to get paid in their commission. So let's take a look and see what we have. It tells us that she gets paid $2,100 a month. It tells us that she sold a car for $39,500, and it also tells us that she's earning 4% commission on the sale. The first question right here asks us, how much was her commission? Okay, so we need to plug that into our formula right here. Well, we need to figure out, first we have our commission rate, which is 4%. And then we're going to multiply that times her sale, which was $39,500. That's going to equal our commission. Well, when we solve that, when we figure that out, don't forget we have to change our percent to a decimal first. It'll be 0.04 times 39,500, which equals $1,580. So that means for selling that car, she got paid $1,580. Okay, that's her commission right there. Now, but the question asks us also, what was her total pay for the month? Well, now we have to take her salary, which was this $2,100 up here, and we're going to have to add our commission to that. So we're going to have $2,100 plus my $1,580. Well, when we do that, we end up with $3,680. And that's how much she would get paid for the month. Well, if she sells 18 cars, obviously what we would do is we would add up the price for each one of those cars, and then we would multiply that times our 4%, and that would give us a different commission amount. Okay? Her monthly pay, or let me rephrase that, her monthly salary never changes. It's always $2,100. Now, her commission could go up and go down, though. Okay? All right, let's take a look at our second example here. Our second one says, if the sales tax rate is 7.75%, how much tax would Mika pay if she bought a portable CD player for $45.80 and 2 CDs for $15.99 each? Okay? Now, this is a multiple-step problem, but anytime we want to find the percent of a number or tax rate or anything like that, we're multiplying. That's all we're doing. Okay? Now, before we can multiply, we have to find our total of the items that she's buying. Because look, she's buying one item that's $45.80, and then she's buying 2 CDs for $15.99 each. So really, to find our total, we're going to have to get our $45.80 plus our $15.99 plus our $15.99. Okay, that's going to give us our total that we're going to be charged tax on. We have to find that first. Okay, so whenever we add those guys up, what does that give me? Gives me $77.78. Okay, so I have $77.78. Now I need to take my total for the items, which is $77.78, and I'm going to multiply that times my percent. Don't forget, I have to change this to a decimal first, so I need to move my decimal over 2 places. 1, 2. So I'll be 0.0775. Okay, well, when I multiply that times 0.0775, that's going to give me $6.03. Now, on that, I did round to the nearest hundredth, or cent, I guess I should say, because we can't have a part of a cent. Okay, so I got $6.03, which is, actually, that's what the question asks us. It says, how much tax would she pay? Okay, so that'd be our answer. Now, be careful, because on your assignment, sometimes it'll ask you, what was the total price that she spent for all the items, including tax, in which case we'd have to take that $6.03 and add that back to the $77.78. And that would be our total. Okay? But this one asks us, how much tax did she pay? Which, that's our answer. Not that difficult. All right, let's take a look at our third and final example. This one says George earns $36,000 yearly. Of that, he pays $12,240 for rent. What percentage of George's earnings go for rent? Okay. Since a name is a proper noun, it's pronounced however I want to pronounce it. All right, so let's take a look on how to solve this one. This one we can solve it a bunch of different ways. I will use our proportion method, okay? And I'll make my 2 fractions, and I know that I'll have my percent over 100 right here. And then over here, I'll put my part over my whole, which, how much does he make in a year? Well, $36,000. That represents my whole, so that has to be my denominator. And the part is going to be $12,240. Now, we can solve that just like we've been solving our proportions all this week. We can cross multiply and then divide. Now, whenever I cross multiply 12,240 times 100, what does that give me? Does that give me 1 million? 1,224,000. And then I'll have to divide that by 36,000. Now, we also know whenever we have our our numbers like this, and we have our 36,000 that we're going to divide by, we know one of our shortcuts is we can eliminate our zeros. Since we have 3 zeros there, we can eliminate 3 zeros there, which leaves me with 1,224 divided by 36. Well, when we have 1,224 divided by 36, that gives me, that's right, 34. So that gives me 34%. So I know that he's paying 34% of his salary on rent. Okay? Now, if you didn't set it up like this, you could have set up your part over your whole and just divided. You could have just done 12,240 divided by 36,000. The only difference is that'll give you a decimal, and you have to move your decimal over to make it back into a percent. But it'll still give you the same answer that we just got. Okay? All right. That's all there is to it. Not too difficult.